Hello, Sagittarius, to your Timeless to Love variant reading, where we talk about anything that wants to be discussed and however love may show up or not show up in your life. This could be about being single, married, divorced, polyamory, karmic, divine, you name it. Okay? Also, Sagittarius, these messages may provide universal justice if you are here in Sagittarius being in your Sun rising and your Jupiter position. However, if you are here for your Moon, Mercury, and or Venus being in the sign of Sagittarius, I may ask you to check out the description box below to reach my sister channel, where the content over there may be of some worthiness to you. All right, Sagittarius. I'm hearing the words fucked up. Like, I don't know if it's a fucked up situation. I don't think it's a fucked up situation. I don't think it's even that a person is being fucked up, you or another. I just hear fucked up. I'm hearing that the fucked up is like the higher self of you has steered the vessel of you in a wrong way. Now, that's ridiculous sounding, right? It's like, how can the higher version of you mislead you? I think what's happening here is maybe you're confusing your own ego. Maybe you don't understand if you're operating of light or of darkness. So the meshing of one or the other, too much of this, too little of that, is chaotic for the higher self to make sense of. And so the higher self is forced to behave in ways to try to discipline the vessel of you without it wanting for you, the vessel that it operates for, to feel neglected. And I think that's almost kind of what's hinting at what's fucked up. It's like the higher self had to operate in some way to make you feel the way you are doing right now, however you're feeling right now, with whatever it is that you're doing right now. That was a mess. Someone is afraid of smoking cannabis because whatever is attached to the idea of smoking cannabis, they think that smoking cannabis draws any negative energy. Like, ladies and gentlemen, like, stop trying to evade the fact that you are more than capable of being the proprietor of these negative thoughts. So anything wanting to entertain you that's of negative can be said in the same way of saying yes or no to the positives, all right? But the irony of the positives is that you're never going to say no to them. All right? If anything, you want to break the spell, the ether, to try to get more positivity. And some of you have done that. Some of you are massive energy manipulators. You know how to ritualize with the moon phases. But none of that really works in your favor. Not really. Like, it works in your favor for you to see that your ego can control certain things, because your ego can say, I want this, and you can train yourself to engage in activities to bring you closer to the object of infatuation. So you convince yourself that you can attract wealth, which is not necessarily in need of convincing. It's a tangible act. You want, you desire, you receive. It's very linear in that regard, right? But when we focus our intention to that, and we put more intention of, and more motivized and incentivized intention on something, then it becomes more acceptable for our consciousness to say, oh, we had our hands in the dwellings, we did the work, we are pushing that person away from that person, we're putting a hex on that person, we don't want our person to talk to that person over there any longer, we don't want that person over there to have eyes on another lady, on another man, we don't want that person to leave me and to enter somebody else's door. Like, there are all these things that you want to communicate at the end of the day here, about wanting to justify what you understand and also what you don't understand here with the misinterpretation. All right, but again, it's a little bit of dabble of this and dabble of that. You know, at the end of the day, you have a really great narrative to how you control the energies and how you can show up for them and what they may mean. But the moon, let's not forget what the moon is. The moon is a secret energy, right? You only see one side of the moon at any given point in time. You see the phases of one side, so do you ever get enough time to witness it in a whole? Like, no. I mean, that's the same with you. We don't get a time to kind of witness you as you are without you wanting to manipulate or change something about a narrative happening outside of you so that you can be accepted in a situation. Like, you're not that important at the end of the day, Sagittarius. You are important to accept that there are pros and cons in life, that there's duality, there's light and there's dark. There is a uniformity, however, that comes from both of them being a cohesive conjuncture. And understanding that puts you in a level of actualizing the confidence and courage to be a human being, to be a person of identity that you choose to desire to become or choose to learn more about. That requires diligency and dignity. And once you have a focused intention on just that, without belittling anyone or yourself or another, without running up excuses as to why things haven't been done or why they should occur in the way that they should, like, to forgo all those things and have a different type of entanglement with your emotions rather than the emotions that keep the drama going. We have the Three of Swords, heartbreak, and the Devil, obsession. I mean, like I said, there is a lot of obsessiveness coming through here with wanting to control a narrative to happen your way and your way only, so that way you can kind of like fit the bill. You can almost accept people for the value that they are. Like, the moment you have to think that the person that you're talking to and you're fearing that the person could talk to somebody else, and you have to go to speak to a psychic in order to figure out whether this person is invested in you or in somebody else, you are the problem. It's not the individual, because the individual is living out their life, making the decisions and working with their ego. The devil has more truth to themselves here for being a wholehearted person and an identity of some kind, because they know all aspects of themselves, whether it's malicious or not. The devil doesn't give a shit. The ego doesn't give a shit what stands in the way, who it affects. But the moon is like, sometimes I work, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have the energy to give more. Sometimes it's fickle. So the moon is not a strength card to the devil energy in this reading. Because whatever the devil learned, it's because the devil learned how to balance the ego for what it no longer wants, or wants to protect itself with, or wants to, with greed, trying to get more of, because if they ask for it for some reason, they don't receive it, so they take it. At least it's more of a I see you for who you are energy than the moon. So it's easier to be upset with the devil for doing whatever the fuck the devil wants to do, for coming off as a narcissist, as this individual who just lives out their life and gives no two shits about looking over their shoulder. Sure. But it's easily just can much be said of the individual who jumps to assumptions, and then instead of going to talk to the individual that triggered the assumption within you, you go to a third party yourself to try to justify why you were triggered the way you were. And that's a falsehood to the connection, because you're trying to connect something that doesn't have a chance to organically or connect in the first place. Eight of Swords, Four of Pentacles, Ten of Wands. So we have anxiety, control, and burdens. So, of course, I mean, this anxiety, some of you will say, well, it's my anxiety allowed me to go to psychics or whatever and get a love reading and do all this stuff. And at the same time, you're here and I'm seeing these energies. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no burden that can necessarily be carried into this shit. But the moment you carry a burden because you've done it, is when you're realizing you've become obsessed about something that you are trying to understand. And that obsession is a personal problem that is fed by your anxiety, and your anxiety feeds off of it. So you do not really see that the anxiety and every burden around you actually has control over you, and you're convinced yourself that it doesn't. And hopefully this reading will provide a rip of the ether of intellect at this moment, or sometime within the context of how this energy can stay alive, and see it as a density to kind of like stand tall in and affirm and not be afraid, or remain diligent that yes, you can still be afraid, but you're just aware, because nothing can come and break you. Whatever you have to do to kind of gain control, to make it through the areas in life that are absent of light. Jupiter. Someone doesn't feel very lucky, like luck is on their side, and the ether doesn't operate in luck. It's about an understanding, and this understanding can be reached by silencing your thoughts and turning the thoughts into a feeling, turning the feeling to a vibration, to not be exerted by the millions of possible words that this feeling could give you. Let's say you reflect on a past relationship that's gone bad, and as soon as you participate in that memory lane, you get triggered with all these words that are once upon a time said, or ideas that were dropped, adventures that were experienced, and all this experience of sharing space with one another, right? It's very sad energy here. But you reflect, and first you're bombarded with all the nuanced thoughts and all the triggerings of, pain and reminders, and then the subtle expectations and the standards that went afoot and were burdened and uncalled for and misaligned and rude. And then you get to a sensation within where you're like nauseous and angry and upset, panic, anxiety, uncertain. And then if you go deeper, it's a void, a place that you just don't understand how you got there, but something brought you there, but you just almost don't remember how. And a moment comes where it's a fleeting thought to try to chase as to how that situation happened in the first place. That's when you listen to the sensations that are happening within you, the vibrations within your body, where your stomach might get a little warmer, your heart might beat a little bit faster or slower, wherever you are in this acceptance of the void of self. And you're just swimming in that place where there's nothing. No amount of fear can trigger you because you have control of your memory not to take you to that place to be triggered. But it doesn't mean that you don't accept the situation. It's just you take the lesson for the experience that it is. That is to retrain your identity, your every cell mechanism of yourself, seen and unseen, and come to a better reasoning for yourself that sometimes it's hard to explain how lost someone can feel and also how found they can be at the same time. So 5 of Wands here is, to highly suggest that, of course, with every fucking problem comes people and their opinions, okay? The opinions that you can just see, like, form on their skin of their face, or they're spewing out of their mouths. Those people who don't understand how you're just not over that person, or the people that don't understand why you've chosen this person if you have a person in your life. Like, whatever is externally, like, antagonizing you right now, it's time to kind of, like, put a pause to it. And kind of, like, slow it down, reverb it, and, like, really take your time in computing the energy that wants to be computed by you. Yeah, Judgment. Really that slow it down. Like, so you can really listen to what people are saying, okay? This is really about having both eyes, both ears open, so that you understand the words that are coming out of your mouth and the words that are still trying to formulate within your subconscious to gain some sort of permission with your consciousness to be executed so that you can speak your reality into your existence. This is a beautiful resurrection from the inside out, like, because you're understanding that it's one thing to dance with the moon energy and another thing to just dance with the culmination that the moon energy actually is, which is the sun, the light, and the dark. Okay. So I see an individual being creative right now for another person. If you're here because you resonate with the first part of the half of the reading where you've been broken, there's someone in your life. There's someone on the path. There's someone right there. And you have not met this person yet. But it doesn't mean this person is not on your path. Alright? It doesn't mean linearly right in front of you. It means on the path of discovery. I'm seeing like some business meeting, some kind. Something to do with all hands on deck from both ideas, like both people like doing this thing, and that's where you're gonna kind of like cross paths. I'm just gonna say sleep. Woo! Someone needs to sleep. Alright, 10 of Wands. Someone needs to recuperate. I'm laughing because there's a regenerative energy needed for this individual to cleanse themselves heartedly. Like, this isn't about your typical, like, watch your diet kind of cleanse. This is about, like, take your life seriously. Cleanse. Hold yourself accountable for the things you want to show up for and the things that you would never want to be done onto you. Because you do a lot of things in secret, Sagittarius, that you tend to get away with. But you also know that you don't get away with it energetically because there's a karmic price to pay. Understanding that is the reason why you can learn how to dance with the devil, which is to dance with your ego. It may not always know if it's the operator of light and darkness, but it wants to play a game. And the moment you just entertain the fact that it wants to play a game, you, the vessel and proprietor of this so-called the devil energy, can wisen up and learn how to justify decisions, how to draw reasonable conclusions and solutions with even thesis, a theory involved, all right, and hypotheses, and take what is obsessed over and make it make sense, especially if it means now having to intertwine it or involve it at all times. This is also including people, all right? Maybe you morphed yourself with individuals that now you've created children with them and the relationship no longer functions. Coming into terms with that for the relationship itself, not for the children, but for your relationship to the child, of how honest you are to how you are a human being. What things would be done unto you that you do not like, and to not do them as well. This exhaustion is overwhelming. Ooh. Very overwhelming. I really needing to take that kitty nap, potentially look at some of the things that you eat that are of obsession, of addiction. I see a lot of sweets, a lot of sugar. I also see What is it that I see? Like I just see people like buying shit that could be remotely healthy and putting it in a microwave. Like it just depleted all of that energy. Like you just killed it. You killed it. You killed it. And that all that energy is like still within you. Like that's the kind of like detox I'm asking someone not to do. Like the energies you don't see. Like yeah, you might have crystals and shit, but if you still put shit in the fucking microwave, it's like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, see, it doesn't make sense. Seven of Swords energy. And that shit is like deceptive as fuck. You want a crystal to heal you, but then you put shit in the microwave and then you say it's delicious and gourmet. But there's something fishy about the situation and doesn't make sense. You need to go back to the drawing board and understand what consumption means and what healthier decisions isn't based on cost. It's not. Because if you're going to base it on cost, you're also going to then be humble to learn that because it may cost that way, you can also live you can live off of that. You can live off of the one item you're maybe just forced to buy because it's so expensive. Maybe that one item can actually sustainably keep you more full, or you can get more meals out of that. Like there's certain things that some people just don't know because they haven't been educated. The details of being able to explore their minds that way and not codepend on shit. There's an agenda that they feel like they must oblige by, like expiration date and a sell-by date. Like, but people are so fucking confused by that shit at the same time. Sell-by date doesn't mean that once you open it, you have until that time to consume it. It means that you can only have that time till open it and consume it by the sell-by date. Expiration date and sell-by date is two fucking shits. And people like keep their drinks that they've opened for like 2 seconds or like took one sip and they keep it in the fridge for fucking forever because they're convinced that the sell-by date is the expiration date. I'm sorry, but it's idiotic to think that way. And then their logic is like, well, it's in the refrigerator, it keeps going. Nah, and like, nah. This is not. And these are people who like ultimately do certain things and reach certain decisions that affect other people, and we're over here like obsessed with these individuals, but if you look closer to their life, it's shitty. It's gross. They pop their food in a microwave, you know, they drink high fructose corn syrup with stevia. I'm gonna insult a lot of people who say not sorry. Sorry but not sorry. Like whatever. It is whatever. There are people who are all shapes and sizes and they live for a long time. And there's some people, some energies who are said to never have died at all. Alright. I will leave the messages where they are, Sagittarius. I hope that you are having a wonderful morning, noon, or night, wherever you are in the ether of this time and space. And may you keep flowing, growing, and glowing. Take care.